Hello everybody, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and finally, I get to do what I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is get you guys out here on a Rocket 3 from Triumph. This particular Rocket 3 is a used version. I believe it is a 2013 model and has done 14,610 miles. So this one's been broken a little bit, so that'll give a good test of this bike. Other than that, still same old Rocket 3. They've been in existence since 2004 for the 05 model here. They just recently celebrated their 10th anniversary with the X models of these, and that's why I haven't been able to ride one for you guys, because, well, that's the only bike they had was the Rocket X, and they're numbered, and we had 006 here in Oklahoma, which was kind of stunning. So, you know, that's one thing that can't help is whenever they have a numbered bike and well, yeah, they won't let you ride it, but I'm okay with that because now I get to ride this beautiful example here. The Rocket 3 is an amazing bike. Like I said, I got to ride one of these a while back and never got a chance to film it or anything like that, but today I did get to, and I can show you guys that this thing is absolutely ludicrous. 146 horsepower out of its 2300 cc engine. That's right, this thing has a bigger engine than a Honda Civic, folks. I mean, this thing is just absolutely beastly in power, as you can see and as you can hear. The Rocket 3 was designed as a power cruiser. Definitely one of the better ones, you know, that are out there and things like that. It's just, this bike is a legend in its own right. Being that it's the largest production motorcycle engine that there is, the fact that it's so well balanced, the fact it doesn't play around. I mean, it's a bike that actually holds itself really well for the fact that it weighs 810 pounds roughly, and I mean, it has this huge honking 3-cylinder engine in it. So this bike does very well. I mean, you can see as I can turn here, watch for these holes that keep forming up here, that this bike turns real well for, I mean, for what it's worth. This particular one, since it is the Roadster, has a mid-mount peg, real easy to get to, real easy to use, big enough for my large feet. Transmission is a gorgeous shifting transmission, 6-speed, very easy to click in, click out, good engine braking, great at power delivery, and this thing just hauls. I mean, let's get on the interstate and we'll just show you that this thing absolutely hauls. I mean, nothing's gonna catch you. That's just the whole thing about it. It is absolutely vicious and insane. And I love it about this bike. This bike is just a marvelous piece of engineering from Triumph. To make one this large, and actually it handles as well as it does. You know, and it's just a great bike overall. The Diavolo, you know, it has the 3 separate modes. It has a lot of different things that it can do in terms of the traction control systems and the power delivery and things like that. It has lots and lots of fun things. I can see that mirror's a little loose now, unfortunately. Like I said, it's a used bike, not a new one. But, you know, this bike is more honest in its engineering. It's just, you know, a different kind of bike. It's not a starship like the Diavolo. It's more honest. It's more Harley, but better and smoother than Harley. The engine on this thing is extremely well balanced, extremely smooth and quiet in operation. I like the baffles on this one. They took it out. I think it's running Aero twin exhausts on it, but it sounds really good, you know, for what it is. And the good thing about this thing is that, you know, you don't pay out the nose for it. Like a Harley Davidson, you know, you get a Street Glide and some of those other bikes, and even the Fat Bob costs more or the same as this bike. These bikes start around $14,900. And my Fat Bob started quite a bit, you know, more than that even. You know, it's just one of those things where you get that kind of bike and you're expecting a little bit more. You're expecting that muscle bike. You're expecting it to be a, you know, a crazy, insane bike, you know, for what you paid for. But it's just a Harley. It's just a lazy girl. But, you know, this one here is just a surprising bike. And like I said, despite the fact that it's so big and so large, it is so well balanced, and it handles the streets really well. It is liquid cooled as well, so that way you can take it into the city and not have to worry about anything. Now, if you're looking for a bike that's going to get fuel mileage and get into the 40s and 50s and even up to the 60s, this is not the bike you want to turn to. This bike gets a very car-like 38 to the gallon at the best. But other than that, I mean, what's not to like? You're not in a car, you're in an amazing piece of machinery that's more powerful than a lot of those cars out there, and even has a bigger engine than a lot of these cars do nowadays. I mean, it's just insane that they put this kind of power into a bike. The gas tank that you see that I'm straddling is a 6.3 gallon gas tank, so it's going to get you about as far as your normal bike would, you know, with a 5 gallon or 4 gallon gas tank, just because it's got that much more capacity. That's all it is. And you know, it's just beautiful. I mean, I don't care about the width of it. You don't really feel it when you're riding. You know, it sets you upright, and it just feels good. Wind doesn't feel too bad on this bike because it holds you up really well. So you don't have to worry about that despite it being open air. So good there. On your dashboard, you do have 2 separate lead outs. You've got your tachometer on the right. That particular cluster right here includes basically your fuel gauge, your distance to empty, and a gear indicator. Tells you what gear you currently are in. Then over here, of course, you got your odometer, trip odometer 1 and 2, and then you also have a digital clock as well. So you got a few things that makes it a little bit easier to live with. I do like the placement much better than I do my Harley, because I'm not, like I said, a fan of the one on the tank. This thing is just ludicrous. You get to 50 in a heartbeat. It's wonderful. Anyway, but yeah, it's just absolutely agricultural selling too with this exhaust. I love it. Okay, anyway, so good ergonomics, great fill. I mean, the bar's set out wide, set out low. You don't have much to play with. All you have on this side, your bright switchers, and of course your turn signals and your horn and everything like that. Then you got your starter and everything on the other side. I mean, very simple affair. Does have twin discs on the front. What do you expect for 800 pounds being stopped? You have to have twins, especially with the power that you got, and a big giant single in the rear on disc brakes. Like I said, absolutely wonderful bike though to take around, and it's not a bike that you cannot really, you know, you can't fault it for anything. It does well in the city. It does well you know, on the highways. It does well everywhere. The transmission, like I said, you can hear that thing. I love that sound. Sorry. Anyway, the transmission is smooth. The engine braking is smooth. I mean, this thing is just absolutely radical. And like I said, this one has 14,000 miles on it. Probably rode a little hard and still ready for more. I mean, what more can you ask out of a bike? You know, what more can you ask? So like I said, when it comes to the Rocket 3, I will buy this bike. I mean, this is one that's in my future. I mean, I rode the Diavel. I like the Diavel, but it was just way too technical for me. There's no point to all that technology. When you have a bike like this that exists that's just as fun, or actually a little bit more fun to me, torque's more usable on this bike than the Diavel because it comes so much lower in. It doesn't come in on the high end like the Tesla Strada does. I mean, this is the bike that I would want to replace my Triumph America eventually. This is the bike that I want to see as my long-range tourer. They do have different versions of this bike. They have this one, the Roadster, which is just that bare bones mid-mount peg sporty bike. They've got the big tourer bike as well, and then they've got a regular Rocket 3 in the middle of the two. And when you get the Rocket 3 Tourer, you get the windshield, the saddlebags hard locking, and you know, the floorboards with heel toe shifter and things like that. That bike's going to top you out about $17,800. So not expensive at all. Like I said, you're looking at street glides, you're looking at 18 to 19 pretty easy, and up into 24,000 mile or $24,000 mark even. So this bike comes at not a premium for what you get, not an expensive bike at all, and you get all this horsepower, you get all this usable power. I mean, as you can see, you can just dart in and out of traffic with it because it's flickable. I mean, you can see the chassis is extremely good on this bike, despite the width, despite the heft. Get this bike, folks. like I said, this is one of the best power cruisers that you'll ever buy. It's not as powerful as the VMAX. It's not as powerful in horsepower as the D'Awful. But that's not what matters here. What matters here is the fun and enjoyment that it's going to bring you, and the fact that you're not going to feel like you're going to spill your guts with it all the time because it's just too powerful or too much of a wheelie monster or anything like that. So anyway, this is the Rabid Hedgehog, and this is my honest review of the 2013. Yeah, I just love this Rocket 3 Roadster. Have a good one, folks, and keep the shiny side up.